Counting is the foundation to math development. In order to develop a strong understanding of adding, subtracting, or fair sharing, this is what we call operations, children need an abundance of counting experiences. Counting needs to become almost automatic. Hi, I'm Margaret Welch Fall, Elementary Education Senior. My theme project lesson is Counting to 10. The year-end kindergarten student is supposed to be able to count to 20. I chose this lesson as a beginning of the year first day assessment to understand the student's starting point for this year. This lesson will also help the student become familiar with the location of the lunchroom, the gym, recess exit door, and the library, as well as interacting with new classmates and having fun doing it. Here's a list of my student learning objectives. My main one, of course, is counting objects in a set without being able to touch them. Now, of course, I want them to enjoy this lesson, and I want them to have fun. I chose 10 Little Ducks, and it's an activity book. It has a dial on the inside of the book, so as you talk about the little ducks going away, it just kind of adds a little bit of excitement to the ducks disappearing. And this is also a perfect book to plant the seeds for early subtraction and addition skills. The materials that I am going to be needing, I'm going to use concrete props, visual aids, making instructions relatively short, giving the student a great deal of hands-on practice with skills that will serve as building blocks for more complex thinking and developmenting additional skills. My plan is to provide a wide range of experiences in order to build a foundation for concept learning and language. I will need to have access to the internet and YouTube for video songs, individual whiteboards, markers, erasers, crayons, and paper. I have a tally sheet for the students, and I also have an answer key for myself or for the teacher or sub. I have rubber ducks to cut out. This can be used with real rubber ducks around the room. I just don't want the students to touch them. So I will cut out however many students I have, a duck for each one of them, and they will be hidden throughout the classroom. I will need numbers on a stick to pass out to the class for our listening strategy. I am going to need a copy of the 10 Little Ducks by Ari Anderson for this lesson. Before I start reading the story, I am going to warm the class up with one of our favorite songs, Rubber Ducky, You're the One. The listening activity turns on the student's brain to be listening to the story as they make sure they have the number to hold up and wave. The simple listening strategy nurtures students' comprehensive development because they are paying close attention to the text that is being shared. In time, this strategy will become second nature to the students and benefit them as they progress through school. The planned activity expands the students' knowledge of counting as well as having fun. Our main activity today is a duck hunt. We are going to be counting 1 to 10. We are going on a duck hunt. Prior to the lesson, I have taken rubber duck pictures and have placed them all around the room. I have pretty much hidden them, but they're still out in view. I'm going to tell the students that some ducks have waddled into the classroom and they are hiding. all over the classroom. I'm going to explain that the object is for them to count. They're not to touch and count, and this will be the first time that they haven't been able to touch and move and count them. But we are going to look and count today. And nobody's supposed to be leaving their desk or from their carpet spot until I'm ready to tell them to go. And it is their job to find the ducks. And I'm going to give them about 15 minutes to do this. But I want to see also if the kids can follow the rules. No running. This is not a race. No talking. You're not to help anyone else find the ducks. No touching of the ducks. They need to be left for others to find as well. Once the students have had enough time to find all the ducks, record most of the ducks, announce that time is up, and have everyone return to their desk or their spot on the carpet. Now it's time to ask, how many ducks did you find? Ask the students how many as a whole group, and we are doing this to clarify. How many found more than 5? How many found about 10? Who thinks they found the most? Who thinks they have found the least? Now I'm going to discuss with the class methods of doing our tallying or counting, and how, after we've discussed with the class their methods, what as a class we think might be the best method in the future. What takes the less time and which gives us the information that is readily available for us faster. I'm sure that there are some who drew the ducks out, which probably took a little bit of time. Some used the tally marks, which was probably good because they had the lines there and could easily count them. I'm sure that there are probably some that did the numbers, which probably took a little bit more time. But there was no wrong or right method in tallying our ducks. To have a few of the students come to the front, and we are going to this class. It's going to be a class participation, and we're going to have 2 teams, and we're going to egg our team member on, and we are going to tally on the board how many ducks they find, and that way I can show the class how to use the line tally marks or use a dot as a score for a duck. Now I'm going to ask students one by one to go and get a duck that they have found. And I want them to come back to their designated spot, either on the carpet or at their desk, and I want them to tell the class where they found the duck. My duck was on the pencil sharpener. My duck was in the book bin. I want them to use in or on. This is a segue into a lesson at a later time on in and on and the differences. But I want each of the students to go through and get a duck. Now that all of the students have a duck in their hand, I want to tell the students to hold up their duck. And I want to ask if they know how many ducks there are altogether. Someone will realize, or I hope someone will realize, that each student is holding one duck and that they are the same number of ducks per student. So this is a one-to-one correspondence. Now I would like for them to take the number that they have on a stick that they were using when they were using their listening skills. And I want them, with their crayon and paper, to draw that number out, and I want them to illustrate that with however many ducks is on their number. I do have some critical thinking questions for the class. Before reading, I would ask if anyone had ever been on a duck hunt, or if they know what our duck hunt is going to be about. During, I would stop and ask if anyone had ever lost anything and then later found it. Another question, oh no, Mama Duck has lost another baby duck. What do you think Mama Duck is going to do to find her baby? And then I have several different questions um, for after, and then of course how they would evaluate themselves on their activities. Next, I am going to have the students fill out a worksheet to count and tally. And once the students have finished with this, I do have a key in case I have a sub or someone else is doing the grading of what the tally should look like. And I am using this only as assessment for where the students are right now and how far our journey is going to be this year. I am going to finish up this particular part of the lesson by watching 10 Little Ducks video sing along. This is very similar to a couple of the books that I've chosen to reinforce counting 1 to 10, but this is a fun way for all the kids as a group to sing along with their new peers. This is the first day of school. There are rubber ducks waiting in the lunchroom, PE, library, and the door to recess. Students are to come back from each activity location and discuss with the class how many ducks were waiting for them at each location. Now this is an activity that we will do all week, and the numbers will change. And it will be somewhere between 1 and 10. To support students who may be struggling with the learning skills to gain knowledge from this lesson, I will provide a supportive short video that introduces the numbers 1 to 5, then work up to 10. I feel that if students are not able to do basic counting, that small group or individual lesson videos will be very helpful for struggling students or ESL students because it will identify each number and build on numbers learned. I will provide small group instruction with my students on how to count, group, match numbers to quantity. Here is some additional books to support this theme about counting ducks 1 through 10. One Duck Stuck board book is Can Two Fish Tails Go Swish Help? When three moose munches on spruce, be able to pull the unlucky duck out of the muck. And yes, there is one duck stuck in the muck. Then I have my superhero duck book, and it is in reference to superhero ducks 1 through 10 quacking away. It is an adventure book, which I thought would be a nice addition. And then I have Double the Ducks. Double the Ducks is a great story about teaching. It's a math start book about teaching how to double numbers, but right now we're just focused on counting, and then this will be a nice seed for adding and doubling. But it's hard work taking care of 5 ducks, but when each little duck comes home with a friend, oh no, now it's double the ducks and double the work. I do have some additional books to support my counting theme. The 10 Little Rubber Ducks board book by Errol Carl is one of my favorite authors. I love his books because they're so beautifully illustrated, and this is a fun book about a captain shouting over that 10 little rubber ducks have fallen off of his cargo ship. So it's a nice adventure to try to find the ducks. And then on 5 Little Ducks, it's a song book, so music kind of bridges the languages, and maybe this would be a good story for my ESL students and those who are struggling as well. And then I ran across The Duck Who Didn't Like Water. I thought this might be a nice book to kind of ease into rain and weather, severe weather drills during, at the beginning of the school year, we have to go through tornado drills. And on this lesson, I want to do assessments for the students. I will be doing formative, summative, and I also am going to do a teacher reflection on how I felt the students, how they felt, and whether they were confident in doing this lesson, how I managed the classroom with this, what are my lessons learned. And then also I wanted to do a whole group. How did each of the students feel that they did on the duck hunt and why? Counting activities should be intentional, purposeful, playful, and fun. For the teacher, learning how to include these activities in preschool and kindergarten classroom throughout the day requires creativity and planning.